We're making a positive video now. I'm excited. So the last time that I talked about the West Tigers on this channel was the Westlife podcast versus Lee Hadjipatelis, because there was the development that occurred that Hadjipatelis had threatened to sue the podcast over comments that were made. And I went into about it of how it was an absolute shit show. But ever since then, the West Tigers have done a complete 180 and have completely turned things around. And I, for one, am very excited to see how this plays out. First things first is they kicked everybody out of their board after an independent third party looked into the club. They're just like, get out, all of them. And you could tell with the Tigers fans and how they were reacting to this, it was something that was probably long overdue. In complete honesty, I'm surprised the Westlife podcast, the first episode that they did after this situation, wasn't just 2 hours of ding dong, the witch is dead. Because that's what I'd do in that situation. And then, of course, is Benji Marshall, coming in as now the new head coach. Well, he's going to come in officially anyways, but then Tim Sheens got dropped sort of near the end of last year, so Benji stepped himself up a bit early. But one thing I do remember after the Hadjipatelis and all that left, saying it's like, now it's going to be really hard to gather players and recruit because they don't have a board and all that. Now it's all temporary and stuff like that. We'll explain this then, as it is basically expected to be announced over the coming days that Justin Olam will be joining the West Tigers immediately for the 2024 season. It's believed to be a trade deal, so Sean Bloor will be going over to Melbourne and Justin Olam is coming to the Tigers. And it kind of really nips it in the butt with what Hadjipatelis said about how, because of now the whole board's gone, it's going to be struggling to recruit players. And it's like, there is a big indicator as to how this is going to be disproven. And that's Benji Marshall. Because Benji Marshall, one of the greatest players of a generation, a lot of the young players now probably grew up idolising players like Benji Marshall. Playing under him is going to be a very big draw for players. That's why I feel like in terms of like the whole Jerome Luai deal, kind of is why he's going to the Tigers. It's to play under, Benji Marshall. It's also the sort of same thing when it comes to the Queensland team, because you want to make it into that team because you'll be playing under the greatest fullback to ever play NRL. I don't think that's a hot take. And I feel like it'd be the same way if some other players came into coaching, like say if Jonathan Thurston at some point becomes coach, even Andrew Johns. These big players that people have grown up under, want to play and learn from these legends. So it's going to be a big draw and reason as to why these players will go to certain clubs. Now, I know that Andrew Johns is somewhat got a role with the Knights, coaching with the Playmakers, which is kind of why you're seeing, Cogger and all that coming in. And I think it's also as well is the West Tigers are slowly but surely over the last couple of years have actually built a very solid team. I'm not going to say that obviously with this deal with Justin Olam that the Tigers are going to immediately challenge for the finals. I still think they got a little bit to go. Once Luai probably comes in 2025, that's when you start making those claims. I definitely feel they're going to be a lot better this year, kind of because they have to, because if they don't and then they get the wooden spoon again, they'll tie the Knights in their 3 years of wooden spoon. And trust me, I do think that this Tigers team is currently, I think over the last couple of years, it was better than those 3 years, especially like the 2017 Knights team, because that was just a whole affair. And I just think there are finally steps in the right direction for the West Tigers. And I'm very much excited to see how they will go. So I'll pose a question to you lot. How do you think the Tigers are going to do? Do you think they're going in the right direction? And say if you think they're going to be somewhat in a finals picture, when will this happen? Will this be sooner rather than later? Just your whole thoughts on the West Tigers. Let them know in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.